Hello, everyone. Welcome to our virtual discussion series that's hosted by the Chaldean Cultural Center in collaboration with U of M Detroit Center, Unique Voices in Films, and CMN TV. And today my guest is Ismail Taher. Hi, Ismail.
Hi, how are you?
Ismail Taher is a Palestinian American actor and influencer. He's got like millions of followers on TikTok. So he has the opportunity to influence people, I guess. He also co-starred in the Iraqi American film Pomegranate. So we're very happy to have you here, Ismail. I have so many questions for you.
I'm happy to be here. Go ahead.
So Ismail, you were born here, correct? In America?
Yeah.
Okay,
I
and
was born in
both your
Chicago.
parents are Palestinian?
Yes.
Okay, so one of my main questions is a Palestinian American. How has that influenced your career and your career choice? Have they been supportive? I know most Arab Americans are expecting like doctors and lawyers and engineers. How are your parents handled your career choice?
My parents were I guess confused, not non-supportive though. My mom's always been very supportive, and my father was just like, okay, like let's see what happens. You know what I mean? I've always been there for my parents. I'm the oldest kid, so they've always put a good amount of stuff on me, and I've always backed them up. So at first it was like, they're like, okay, like let's just see what happens. We wish you the best, obviously. And afterwards, it kind of just ended up happening pretty well. My grandparents thought I went crazy because they're super old school, but now they're very happy about everything that's going
Now
on.
that you've succeeded,
Yeah.
everybody's
People don't.
happy.
I've learned that people don't believe something until they see it, and people don't want to believe in something that they don't know anything about. We fear believing things that we don't know.
Right.
And when a lot of these people came up, and the formula for success is being a doctor or an engineer or something along those lines, and somebody tries to go outside of that formula, they're looked at like they're crazy. I'm sure it was the same way when the first few people came from Palestine to America. They were probably looked at like they're crazy, but once they found the formula for success, and like that you could actually be successful here, they all ended up coming. And I'm kind of hoping the same thing happens with me in acting, where I become successful in acting, and then I influence a whole generation of kids that are Arab American to pursue that dream if they choose to.
Yes, yeah, that makes sense because in comparison to other ethnicities, Arab Americans are fairly new and as large communities and in film industry. So it is scary to break into something like that
Hmm.
and to actually believe that there's a future in it. So
100%.
let's talk on a personal level. When did you decide that you wanted to be an actor, and then how did you pursue it?
It happened 2000. Okay, it was like late 2017. I graduated college, got into, got signed by my first modeling agent. It was very random. One of my friends kept telling me, go look at it, go check it out. They're having an open call. Went. I remember there was about like 200 people there, and they signed like 7 people, and I was one of the 7. So I was like, oh, okay, like look, I could do this. Did it for a little while. It was cool. I didn't really think much of it. And then I was at that point I was like, if I could do this, I could probably try a bunch of different things. So I was working a corporate job. I had just graduated college, so um, I tried about 4 or 5 different jobs. I'm not going to get into the details on those, but they were a bunch of random things, trying to figure out what I really enjoyed in life. And then one day, one of my cousins was like, "Hey, why don't you ever try background acting?" And I'm like, nah, that's like dumb. He's like, just try it, see if you like it. And at that point in my life, I was like, let me try everything and see what I like. And I remember being on set, and I was like, wow, this is amazing, and like just instantly falling in love with the process. So right after that happened, I was like, I ended up getting like some type of like featured role on a show called Empire. And after that happened, I was like, all right, that's it. Like this is what I want to do. It was like love at first sight, and I knew this is what I wanted to pursue. So for about 3 years, I studied intensely between Second City, Acting Studio Chicago, as well as Black Box Chicago. Studied a bunch of different techniques, studied improv. I ended up quitting my job, my corporate job, about as crazy as this sounds, probably like 3 months after I started taking my first class. So that was 2018. And in 2018, I quit my job and I said, I'm just going to study acting full time. I saved up enough money to do it, to support myself through it. And I was 23 at the time. And I was 23, about 24, going on to 24. Studied acting like I was in school again and took it very seriously. And then ended up getting to do a few jobs here and there, nothing serious. I did the jobs that nobody would want to take, the ones that nobody's ever gonna see, but that ended up getting me to where I am right now.
So this is fairly recent that you started this 2017. I mean, hasn't been that long, and it seems like your career took off. And I see that when we sometimes talk about acting, maybe what limits us or some people is that what they agree to work. And I remember you once saying that you take any job that comes to you. I don't know if you know Adil Imam. He's a famous Egyptian actor.
Mm.
And he's like older. I think he's like either like probably in his 70s now, but he's a very famous Egyptian actor. And one of the things when they interviewed him that he said in the beginning, that's what he did. He just took whatever job came to him. But in your case, you also kind of made a business out of it from your, is it from your TikTok or your Instagram? Is that your phone? So how nowadays it's different. Before people had the opportunity and it was kind of just limited to movies or TV series, but things have changed. So in your case, how did you change that and use your talent in order to be able to be successful and not limit yourself only when a role comes to you?
In what sense? Like
Well,
taking acting over?
your social media, your TikTok page is, right now you have a platform and it's not limited only to films and TV. So, how does that help? Like if somebody is trying, so I feel like you're working all the time because you regularly post, and it's like you create you create a scenario, you videotape it. So that process is part of what we do nowadays in film, but it's just on a different level. So how have you utilized social media to continue doing your work, your acting?
So it's kind of funny. I wasn't really big on social media before the pandemic hit. I would post videos here and there just for fun. And I remember before the pandemic hit, like 2019, 2020, I had been, booking stuff and getting a lot of work. And I was getting directors auditions. I was auditioning on a regular basis. Like everything was rolling the right way for me. And then all of a sudden, boom, the pandemic hits. They're saying it's going to be 2 weeks, and then it just keeps extending. And I'm like, how can I keep myself sharp when it comes to acting? And then I was like, maybe I should start doing short skits. I couldn't take any classes at the time. Nobody was booking any jobs at the time. So I'm like, I'll start doing short skits. All of a sudden, people are enjoying like these short skits that I'm doing. And I'm like, okay, I always like learned that you have to strike while the iron's hot, and the iron was on fire at the moment when people started messing with it. It was right after I turned 26. Actually, it was May 2020. My first viral video hit. It was like a small skit with like me missing my barber because like a bunch of guys at the time, nobody could get a haircut because no barbers were taking anybody. So it was my first time seeing my barber, and I think the video ended up getting like 25 million views all
Oh,
across. So that was my first viral video, and my following ended up just going up 10 times on Instagram within a week. It was insane.
so you're
And I
able,
just
that's the thing, like you were able to entertain people regardless of how, but you're able to reach an audience.
100%. And then I just kept making short skits, and I would run them on a daily basis on TikTok, and people really enjoyed them. I brought in a friend of mine. We began making like these relationship type skits, and people love them, and all of it's acted out. And it's a lot of it is from what I learned in my acting classes. You know what I mean? Like I use a lot of the Meisner technique, where it's like it's out of give and take. You know what I mean? I'm always bouncing off of what my partner is saying to me. So uh it's so great that she doesn't have any acting experience, and all these are like skits that we're doing, and a lot of it is improvised. So a lot of the times, I'm using the skills that I've obtained from acting into the thing, and a lot of people don't realize that. And a lot of people still believe that the skits are real, which is kind of insane because we do some like we have some crazy things that we talk about. But yeah, a lot of the success that I've been able to build up on social media comes from the background I have in acting.
And it's so spontaneous. So I've seen you at work because of when you were on the set, and I would see you with different characters, including like Zane, who I interviewed last week. So within minutes, like we're busy doing things, and all of a sudden I see you guys acting something out that's hilarious and so incredibly strong. And I guess what the nice thing about this that you there is like a less, it's like instant, the fact that it comes to mind, then you do have to set up for it. So some people don't realize that there is work involved, and the next thing you know, we're like watching this scene that's hilarious, but we see the work that's behind it, which sometimes people don't get to see. So I can see how they can they imagine that it's real. So you have a quote here that is, you've written that, you know, you're extremely grateful to be both Arab and American. How do you think those two identities have served you, especially in your career?
Well, they're very different. You know what I mean? When you think about being Middle Eastern, you think of like hardworking, a lot of respect, very value based. When you think of American, you think of like any possibility. You know what I mean? Like, and when you're able to mix the two, it's very powerful. You know, we come from a background where it's a lot of it is based on work hard and build yourself and build something not only for you but for your family as well. And when you come to this country, they tell you anything is possible. Now, when you have the backbone of like being Middle Eastern and like you're instilled with this hard work and you come here and you find something that you truly love and you could work at it like that, I mean, I think it's a beautiful mix. And
Yeah.
it's provided me with any
Beautiful that you
possibility.
recognize that. That's the thing. Like if you recognize and really honor your heritage and all the good things, and then if you combine them with what the opportunities that we have here, then you can really have the best of both worlds. And yeah.
Definitely, definitely.
So I've been to Israel and visited the Palestinian lands, and I have beautiful friends that I've known like from college that are Palestinian. So I've seen it. It's been a while, but if you can share with us, you know, some of the highlights. Have you been to your
Palestine.
homeland? Yeah, to your parents' homeland.
Yeah, yeah. I've been I haven't been there in about 12 years, but I still have family that lives there. And yeah, I mean it's been a long time. It's been 12 years. I've been trying to go back for the last 2 years, honestly.
Mhm.
But I love going back there. I love seeing the family. I love seeing being a part of the culture. You know what I mean? Um, I have to get back there soon because it's just been way too long. But hopefully this coming summer or even before that, I'll be visiting there.
So how does your heritage influence you? Because when we chose you, when you did we did casting and you auditioned, so
Mhm.
that side, the Arab American side of you was so powerful. And you know, then you know, but all of you guys were like that, even though all of you were not even born in the country of origin that you were. But you have that really, that is that it's in the blood, you know, it's the heart of being an Arab American, and you had that. And where do you think that comes from? Is it because of your parents? Is it, what about it, or is it just because you have a connection to that heritage in your heart?
It I So it 100% comes from my parents and grandparents. I grew up in a house with my grandparents and my parents, and it was interesting growing up because I grew up in a home where it was so oriented around the culture itself. And then I went to school and it was like all about like being living like an American in a sense. Like I was living with all the other Americans. So I had two different worlds growing up. But the fact that, and that's why I truly believe like when I say I'm Arab American, I'm as Arab American as it gets. You know what I mean? Like I grew up in a house where it was all like rooted in Arab American Palestinian culture, and I went to school in a predominantly American area. You know, there wasn't many Middle Eastern people where I went to school at, and yeah, it's all rooted in my heart because it came from home. You know what I mean? Like I grew up in a house with all of it.
Yeah, and that's why we were very happy, like when we cast you, because the heart of that, when there was a lot of people that auditioned, and even the ones that sometimes came from there, sometimes you could feel the disconnect, but with you, it just felt so real. And but in your case, so you were the only person that we cast that was not of some kind of Iraqi background. You were a Palestinian background, and so we had our beautiful ladies and even and Sam Sak, our producer, work with you to try to get the Iraqi accent, a couple of Iraqi words, get you more familiar. What did it feel like to be part of an Iraqi American film? And then how did you prepare to kind of like some of the things that you had to do to kind of be more of an Iraqi rather? Well, Iraqis are Arabs too, but like you had, there's different dialects and there's just different features that we have, like all the other parts of the Middle East.
100%. Well, being a part of the cast was amazing. You know what I mean? Like it really felt like we were a family on that set. Everybody was very open with each other. We were all very loving. We all hung out with each other all of the time. It was really cool. Um, and the environment itself was amazing. You know what I mean? We spent all of our time together, and it was exactly what I expected. I'm not gonna lie to you. I know how Middle Eastern people are. We're very opening and welcoming and loving, and it wasn't surprising to me at all. Now, when it comes to preparing for the role, one of my good friends, his name's Eunice, is actually Iraqi. So I was by him a lot, and I was talking to him a lot. I'm like, "Oh, you guys don't say haram, you guys say khatiya. Oh, okay, cool." And then it's
So we
not
have
it's
to
not
give
shu,
Eunice
it's
some
shinu.
credit in the film, right? I'm
Oh,
trying
you
to
have
pick
to
up
give
a
Eunice
bunch of
credit.
your
You
his
have to give Eunice credit. You guys don't say shu, you say shinu. Oh, okay, shinu. Okay, I got you. So he really, really helped me dive into the character a little bit deeper, figure out what to say at what times, and how certain phrases would fit within the script. And then by the time I got by you guys, I had the idea of what the character was already, and I had a great idea of what the character was already. I knew who the character was. At that point, it was just kind of making sure I get enough Iraqi built into him. And between my friend Eunice and coming on set and working with you and Sam and the rest of the cast, it came off pretty well, I think.
So what you just said, I want our viewers to understand everything that you just described. You cannot see that when we see you perform because it comes off so naturally, but it's the result of a lot of hard work. So that's what you were talking about earlier, and it all came off. Even when you told us how when you auditioned, that's my dog in the back. I don't know if you hear him playing with his toy. But even when you told us when you auditioned what you did to prepare,
Hmm.
most people don't understand, and it showed. Like when you came, it actually looked so natural. It was so beautiful. It was so perfect. We were really just really drawn to your acting, and we thought, wow, this is Ali. This is the guy that we want to cast. But then later when you told me the backstory, I thought, oh, this is where it came from, his preparation for this many days and reading it over and over and practicing with his friend. So this is for, and I'm not just talking about the film industry or any kind of career. Even in my writing career, a lot of people, sometimes when they wonder how something happened, they have no idea how much editing and rewrites and years went into it.
Yeah.
And so this is a perfect example that before you even came on the set, before you even auditioned, the amount of work, then when you came on the set and you threw in those words that came out so naturally, and everything that you did came from all this preparation that you didn't even have to, you didn't even tell us about, some of it I'm learning from right now.
The audition itself too, I had another friend named Rami who helped me out a lot, and we probably dove. I got the audition, I want to say 2 days before, and I put in maybe 10 to 12 hours on that audition. I remember I was like, I seen the specs for it, and I was like, yeah, this is definitely mine. So I put in a good day and a half before when I got the audition. I remember I was completely off book. I knew everything I was gonna do by the time we got in that call. I was ready to go, and yeah, a lot of preparation went into that. But
Yeah.
no, nobody ever sees the stuff that goes behind. They only see the
No,
end
and we
product.
were so impressed because, like I said, later when I learned, I'm like, okay, now it makes sense, and so What I wanted to ask you too is, you being here in Michigan, so you've been to Michigan, I believe, before this time,
It
before
was one time before, but I didn't really see much. I'm not gonna lie to you.
in comparison. Okay. So,
Yeah.
I don't know if prior to that, aside from like reading the script, if you've ever encountered like or been amongst Chaldeans. So I wanted to ask you, what was that experience? And also, what did you see that was really like, what did you learn about them that was different? Or did you find it like it was so similar that there isn't really, except that for the Iraqi stuff, of course, what was that experience like?
I mean, you guys are just like us for the most part, like Palestinians, except you guys are way louder and you guys are always singing and dancing.
I'm
We
gonna
can't
I'm
go
gonna blame that to
anywhere.
the Iraqi culture. I think all Iraqis fall in that category.
I could not take you guys anywhere. I was always sitting there quietly, and you guys are all singing and dancing all the time. I'm like, man, can we just be quiet for a little bit, guys?
I can see that you had that challenge there, especially when Zayn was with you. And
Uh,
I gotta say, like, it was so much fun having you. You were like a brother to those who were like close to your age. You were like a son to us that were much older than you. You really were so respectful. Again, I credit that to the background. Not that like there are so many people that just have that, but we just really felt that. And at the same time, you were a lot of fun. And just I think why we had fun on the set, even though we were working so hard, is just that experience that we knew that we're making a film that
mhm.
represents us on a true level. I know we all, and I think you might feel the same way, but I know for me and some of the other cast, we just, over the years, we grew up feeling like we did not find our voices heard, our representation, not just for the women, men and women. It was always like the characters have a certain look and have a certain role, and it's not necessarily a pleasant one. And in this case, it was pleasant from all different aspects. So for you, it's not, or even Sami or anybody else, it's not only just about the looks, it's about the genuine representation, about the personalities that we were representing. So I think we all felt that we were doing something outside the stereotypical type that, although there has been communities, I think from the Palestinian backgrounds that have broken some barriers. I really can't say that for the Iraqi communities. I feel like Iraqis still have a certain films that are being done that are always like towards war and never get to the chance to enter our homes, which are totally opposite from what's being represented. Um, you know, Given that you are in this industry and you saw how it felt to produce a film like this, in your opinion, how can our communities dispel these kind of stereotypes and build bridges using media and the arts?
Well, I think it all starts with people like us, to be honest with you. Like I said, we come from a community where nobody believes anything until they see it. And if a group of, I don't want to call myself a pioneer, you're more of a pioneer than I am. If a group of people that are very passionate about it can become successful and start to build bridges and allow other people to do it, then we have, a real possibility to create a change in the outlook of how people see the arts and media and everything like that. As we become more assimilated into the American culture, because a lot of us are still very new, we're first generation. Um, we'll be able to prove that anything is truly possible, especially when you come to this country. You can do anything that you want. Um, and I value that a lot from being American. That
Yeah.
any we can do anything as long as we put our minds to it.
Yeah, and what I found is that when we collaborate, like once we initiate something, then when we find people that are similar and trying to do similar things, the energy increases. So as you saw the
Hmm.
set, we were doing a low budget film, but we were really putting our hearts and soul in a way, because we all, that similarity that we have and the passion that we have. And so suddenly the energy, the spirit that drove us, like I was telling you earlier today, I was speaking to Scott Rosenfeld this morning, and I'm so proud. I am so proud when I describe this to people, our partners, our executive producer. I am so proud when I express how the people, the cast and crew, just worked their hardest and did things that were even outside of what they're supposed to do. But when they listen, they hear that this was a project of passion. And then we influence each other. We kind of like, it's contagious. You know, you guys go home, we all wish the best. We all pray and wish the best for everybody else. And we try to support each other. And imagine if we continue to do that, then we are dispelling stereotypes and then we get our stories told. And I think it's a healing process that, you know, then we can, do that not only for ourselves, because now we can see ourselves, but then also for our children. For yourself, you don't have children yet, but you still, I'm sure, care. You said you're the oldest, so I'm sure for your younger siblings, you want them to be able to see a representation of themselves that's more authentic. We're not trying to act. What I like about the project that we did, we were not trying to act like we were good or bad or just only loving or not. It's just being authentic, right?
Right.
And for me, it's for my children and my community, seeing that I want my children to grow up to see a side of themselves that's usually not portrayed in films. So Ismail, thank you so much. You were just such a really wonderful to have around. I mean, aside from your talents, I think is just who you are as a person was a great representation for all of us, for our children. You were just like their brother, and that meant a lot. So we really appreciate it. And yeah, you know, when you guys are going to see his performance in the film, it's totally, totally amazing. So any last words, Ismail, before we go? We have like 1 minute left.
I just want to thank you for everything. Thank you for the opportunity. Thank you for, I always ask people just put the ball on my court and allow me to play. And you put the ball on my court, and I'm very grateful for that. Thank you so much.
Yes, I trusted your talent, and you know what? You came through. Yes. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Best of luck to you. Thank you, everybody, for watching. Bye-bye.